What's up, Jarrett Birnbaum? What's up, Sam Panitch? How we doing today?
What's up, guys?
Well, it's funny being officially on a podcast with you, Jarrett. We're pumped to have you, although we've had many, if not thousands, I wouldn't say millions. We've had thousands of conversations, I'm sure, in our lifetime. But this is the first one where we get to record it and
Yes, sir.
share it with the world on Elevation Nation, our place that we love so much, with our community that we love so much. So, Jarrett Birnbaum, welcome to Elevation Nation. How you feeling tonight, dude?
I'm feeling great. Excited to be here. It's about time. Totally kidding. No, I'm super excited. I've been obviously following you guys along on this journey since you guys started it. And I always thought it was the coolest thing. Obviously, me not taking a traditional path and you guys doing something that's not traditional. It's been awesome to watch. So I'm excited to talk to you guys.
We're excited to have you on officially to Elevation Nation. I feel like as our friend and an entrepreneur, you were honorary already. And so it's fun that we get to officially be able to welcome you, Jarrett. You are so deserving. And one of the things that we love at Elevation Nation is giving people a little elevator pitch on who they are. Obviously, we've known you since you were a wee lad at the University of Maryland, 18 years old, no beard, fresh out of high school. And we got to get to know you, develop into a young man as we all developed into young men together. Got to see you in the real world, go through different phases of life and figure out your path. So Parker and I obviously know you so well. But for Elevation Nation, can you give us a quick elevator pitch on who you are?
Yeah, so I'm Jarrett. I'm a photographer, videographer here in New York City. I've been doing it, all technically, started in like 2017, 2018, but professionally since for about 4 years now. Recently, like very recently, finally took the leap and went full-time freelance into it, which is super exciting. And it's an interesting time to be talking to you guys about it just because it's so recent and I'm still going through, I'll call it the transition period. So I think that could be, super interesting to dive into. But yeah, I focus mainly in the sports and fitness industry. I mean, I've shot all types of things, photography, videography related, proposals, engagements, corporate, lifestyle, anything you could think of, work with brands. I got my start in like the music and nightlife industry. But right now the focus is sports and fitness. A lot has led me to this spot, which is super exciting. And I'm also in the middle or end stages of building a second photography business under my name, which is going to be focused on real estate. So that's really exciting. We could talk more about that in a bit. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at right now. It's been a crazy journey, but it's fun.
Well, it has been a crazy journey. Because we've been watching you as well as you've been going through that journey. And I have to say, Elevation Nation, fun fact, Jarrett captured one of the most vulnerable and best moments of my entire life when I got on one knee and proposed to JJ. So, little backstory for you. JJ and I we were proposed in the park, my favorite place, right in front of Turtle Pond. And Jarrett being another
It all
Terp.
makes too much sense.
Yeah.
Too much sense. It
He's
lines
wearing
up.
his hat. He's sitting in the grass. I knew, obviously, what was going to happen. JJ couldn't see Jarrett, obviously, because Jarrett was, undercover. And I do it. And Jarrett's, literally, there's a video. He's, squirming up very close, capturing the picture. JJ's like, oh, my God, yes, blah, blah, blah. Turns around. Jarrett's right there. And it's probably freaking cool, Jarrett, to be able to capture, obviously we could talk about mine, but you've done so many other things as other, such monumental moments in people's lives. What does that feel like to be able to be in the moment with people, when they are feeling all of their feels?
It's really interesting. It's one of the coolest experiences that I've, been able to experience. And it's the same every time, but it's different every time because it's new people, it's new reactions, it's a new, wherever they're proposing, it's like a new environment is the word. There's a really cool side and also a weirdly not cool side. I'll explain what I mean. So the not cool side, and that's, not cool is not the right word, but I'm just using it as an opposite. It's my job, right? So I do all these proposals, and it's almost like it's not that it gets boring, but it's I know I have a job to do. I got to go there. I got to prep myself. I got to hide sometimes. Sometimes the people don't know me, so I could just kind of stand there, and I'm there to do a job, and then it doesn't hit me right. Like I'll be there before I go. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't want to go. I don't want to do this. But then I'll get there and I see, the guy walking up, and it's like butterflies every time. And it's not that I'm putting myself in his shoes or her shoes or whatever it is, but it's like I get butterflies because it's so special to be part of that moment. Because for them, it's not just another job. It's not just another day. This is, a once in a lifetime thing that they're trusting me with. And the second I get on location to shoot one of these proposals, all of that comes flooding back. And I just you feel such a sense of importance, and not to boast myself up, but it's such an honor, no matter who it is, whether it's you, Parker, one of our other really good friends, or someone I don't know, the honor's the same, and it's just super special.
Do you feel the pressure?
Yeah.
There's one shot,
So-
one opportunity.
So the pressure's there. With photo, it's a little bit less because you could just rapid fire. As long as I trust my gear to not malfunction on me, you could kind of. It's like, oh, I missed that one, but here's another good shot. I've done video before. That's a lot of pressure. But yeah, the pressure's there for sure.
Nerve-wracking, I can imagine. Jarrett, I want to take it back a little bit, right? We knew you in college, and maybe this was something hidden, but I don't remember you being this into creative arts and photography and videography. Has this always been a passion?
I do.
Where did it come up? How did it start? And then when did you, and maybe we just weren't as close as you and Parker, which I'm sad about now. Parker knew and I didn't. When did this start?
Yeah,
We live together, first of all. We
Fair
live
enough.
together.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
we did. But no, that's it. I've thought about this now that I do it obviously full time. I've thought about this, and I could kind of date it back to the beginning. When I was a kid, and you've heard the story a bunch of times with anybody in the creative field. I was the creative one. I was the one taking the videos of all my friends. That was me. I'm 27. I grew up watching Jackass, Steve-O, Johnny Knoxville. So me and my friends at 10, 11, 12 years old were building ramps, going off with our bikes and scooters, filming it all, doing stupid things. Suburban New Jersey kids thought we were the craziest kids ever. So I was always recording all that. And then I always just enjoyed that. I never thought anything of it. I got to high school, and when I was in high school, same with you guys, the biggest thing was I'm schmacked, right? If you remember that. It was that kids were making college decisions where they wanted to go based off of these videos. And we would watch these videos. I thought it was the coolest thing. I was I want to make videos like this one day. I think it's so cool. It was also the same time where GoPro and action sports and action cameras and Red Bull were the biggest things ever. And not that I grew up an athlete. I wasn't an extreme sports athlete though, but I thought it was so cool to those videos were unbelievable. The original GoPro videos were the coolest things ever. So revolutionary. I thought it was great. So I got to college and I got a GoPro. And I wasn't doing that kind of stuff, but I'm sure you guys remember I was filming everything that our fraternity was doing, making these crazy videos that should never see the light of day ever again.
I think I still have passwords for them.
Yeah, there are passwords for that.
I think one of them doesn't work anymore. I'm gonna have to get some links to revisit the glory
I got
days.
the links. Don't worry, I got all the links.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
But
And I'm sure some of our listeners who were part of those, moments want the links too. Just saying.
For
So
sure.
reach out to Jared if you
Let
want
me
the
know.
link.
Let me know. But they weren't the technically sound, they weren't the best videos, but it was the start of me being creative and taking a bunch of things and figuring out how to put it together. And that just started to grow really fast in college. And then my junior year, the end of my junior year, which is probably why you, Sam in particular, you probably don't remember the full transition to more of the creative process of my life. Because it was the end of junior year, I got my first real camera, And obviously living with Parker, he saw the beginning of it. But starting then, it was just, I picked it up and like never put it down. I started shooting nightlife and music throughout college. And then from then until now, it's just been like a whirlwind of different things. But that's really where it got started.
Yeah, I remember you living with you. It was towards the end of my senior year, and then when I looked back when we were graduated, you had been doing a lot more video your senior year. Incredible. Yeah. So, like, obviously, you know, your friends, our friends, everyone's usually going that traditional route, right, into the business world. Maybe they're going back to school. They're becoming an accountant or a consultant or a banker. They're going to med school or, you know, they're running a family business. But for you, it seemed like you were very destined to find a path where photography and video could be actually your full-time job. And I know it took some time to get to you to this moment, but, like, what was the inkling where you're like, yeah, like, I want to do this?
Yeah. So I took the traditional path too. I graduated college and I was in tech sales. And there were signs along the way, like up until now, that this was what I wanted to do. So I was in that job, and the unfortunate part was I was good at it, but I didn't like it. So I remember one month in particular. So I graduated in May of 2019. I started working in June of 2019. So I was working immediately right after I graduated. So I remember one month, like we all hit like our quota on my team, and all of them like, oh, this is great. Like, let's keep the momentum going. And I was like, I got to do that again. Like, it just, like that type of, it just wasn't. So that was like my first time. I was like, this is not for me. Like, all I wanted to do was go shoot. That first year out of college, like right before COVID hit, I was not shooting at all. And then COVID happened, I lost that job due to that, and all I wanted to do was go out and shoot. And then in between, you know, then and now, I had some jobs. I was a real estate agent for a little bit. I worked, you know, different places, and then I got an opportunity to do photography full time with our good friend Miles Grossman when he was at American Dream. He made the connection and brought me on there, where I became like the photographer for the entire property. Anything that happened on that chaotic property, all the amazing things that was such an amazing experience. But up until then, I was just shooting anything I could. Starting in 2021 when New York reopened, through some connections, I started shooting nightlife in the music industry in New York. And for about a year and a half, I went on a run of shooting, multiple times a week. Specifically like in the EDM space. So I was up to like 3, 4, or 5 in the morning at these crazy clubs, crazy DJs. Like it was wild.
I think with anything you're passionate about, you'll do whatever to get the reps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Like when Parker and I first started podcasting, and still podcast, like we do this because we love meeting people and storytelling and sitting down, putting our phones away, and having just great conversations with good humans. Then on the speaking side, we spoke a lot for free.
Yeah.
For no money. Honestly, it cost us money. We were traveling places, like it was a pain in the ass. But we did it to get the reps and to prove that we could do it and to get better at it. And I think for people out there who have something that they want to experiment with, I have 2 pieces of advice that I think Jarrett followed to a T, which is don't wait for perfection and don't wait to monetize it. Just go do it. Figure it out. Enjoy it. Get better at it. Hone your craft. The opportunities will come and you will get better. When I look back at Parker and I's first workshop, first speaking gig, shit. When I listen to our first podcast episode, I want to throw up in my mouth. Hopefully now we sound a little better. Hopefully now we speak a little bit more eloquently. We're now doing much bigger gigs. We're making an impact at a larger scale. And I think too often we see polished products.
Yep.
And we see the stardom happen. And we don't see the come up. And even, like, I know Gary Vee says this all the time, film your journey to the top, like film you building, film you growing. And I agree. majority of people won't see videos 1 through 1,000.
Right.
They'll see 1,000 plus when you already have your shit figured out. And it's not like they're going to click on your profile and scroll all the way back down. People don't realize the grind it takes to get to be an expert in something, to get to be well respected in something, and to be at that superstardom level and really a leader in your space.
Right.
And so therefore then our generation, I think, is discouraged from following these potentially more risky dreams because they go, oh, Jarrett must have been born with that eye, man. He must have been born with it, gifted a camera, given these opportunities. There's no way I could do anything like that. Sam and Parker, like, look at those podcasts. Like, those microphones are incredible. Like, there's no way I could get to that level.
Right.
And people just are so scared to take that first step and start. And so I commend you for starting in your own way, continuing to grow in your own way, and now taking that leap of faith, which I give you so much credit for.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that's such an important thing, too, because especially now with social media as big as it is, and in the photography industry, I mean, you could ask anybody who's in it, like, kids are starting younger and younger. This is what they want to do because everything's on social media and they want to do it and they're jumping in, which is great. I think it's awesome. Like, the more the merrier. There's not a limited number of people who need photo and video. But a lot of what people need to understand is what you said is like, yeah, you could jump into it at 16 or whatever and like start doing stuff, and like you might have a great eye, and it, you know, some of your stuff comes out pretty good for starting, like just starting. But what they don't see is like, and I'm not even saying like looking at someone like me, because I still look at people who are younger than me and just like, wow, this is amazing. But they don't necessarily understand yet that it took so long and so many hours to get to, whether it's me or whether it's somebody else, whether it's you guys here at this podcast, like they don't understand the hours that it took for us to get to this spot. So I think that's one of the most important things that I tell anybody who might ask me anything about photography is just go out and shoot as much as you can, whether it's for free, whether they throw you some money, whether it's around your neighborhood, it doesn't matter. Just go out, have fun, figure out how to do the things you want to do behind the camera, and just keep working at it.
I think about like, you know, you took your passion and you're getting now paid with what your passion is. Sam and I, our passion is meeting people and having vulnerable conversations about life. And it's beginning to get us paid, right? Mm-hmm. And I think
we're rich, baby.
Yeah. You see that microphone still, Sam, that you have behind you? Or
you mean I couldn't even get my camera to work tonight?
Yeah. All right. Just put it out there. Okay. But what I'm saying is that I feel like people are hesitant to jump in even more into their passion and continue to consistently do it, because it gets hard if you want to monetize it. It's hard if you want to consistently do it and show up. But I've always looked at it as like kind of a win-win. We haven't brought that term up, Sam, recently. I see it as a win-win. Is like you go double down, another one, Sam, for you.
Oh, my God.
And on your passion. Let's call it photography. You'll learn, do you actually love this enough where you want to do it every day?
Yep.
And if you can get yourself to a point where you wake up and I'm feeling the fuel every single day to do this and continue to push and press. And yes, there's hard days, there's easy days, there's good days, there's bad days. You'll know really quickly if you'll be able to get paid, I think, eventually for it. You just got to stay in the game. And the other piece where I'm saying that there's still a win is that if it stops and you're like, this isn't for me, great. You got smarter about yourself. And now you can readjust. And so what's really cool, Jarrett, from us watching kind of like from the sidelines cheering you on as you're like now doing this full time is like you've been persistent in chasing, not necessarily, I mean, you might call it a dream, but you're chasing something, a meaningful life where you're doing something
the life
that you love every
want.
day. Exactly. The life you want, that you want to create for yourself.
Right. And 100%. And yeah, it's hard, right? I'm not performing surgery here, but like it's still hard to be an entrepreneur and do my own thing. And I don't know where my next paycheck's coming. I do right now, but like, you know what I mean? Like I got to go out and get business and stuff like that. And it's hard. And I mean, if you guys know me, well, obviously you guys know me, but for anybody who don't, like, you got to do hard things. I mean, everybody talks about this. Joe Rogan talks about this. Jocko Willing talks about this. Like, if you're not doing hard things, you're not growing. And right, so outside of photography, I mean, with photography too, I work a lot in this industry, but I'm in the gym all the time, not because I want to look good. It's like because like it's hard. Going to the gym and lifting heavy weights is hard. Like I train Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu's hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I don't care what anybody says. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. But I do it, and I've never grown more in the past 4 years since I've started jiu-jitsu. I think, not to just go off on a tangent here, but jiu-jitsu has given me everything I have right now in terms of like the confidence to go out on my own, my physical, mental well-being. I mean, I owe it 95% to that, and the gym. But like, I mean, just doing hard things is really what I'm getting at. It's so important, and I think chasing a passion, and it doesn't mean you have to go 100% into it right away and drop everything you're doing and quit your job, and not at all. Doing it on the side, right? If it's a side hustle for a little bit, building it up, like whatever it is, it's hard, and that's what's going to get you to actually figure it out and be successful with it, is embracing the challenges that these things bring and facing them head on.
We like hard things. Humans like hard things. If it was easy, it'd be like,
Exactly.
Like,
but the
you'll get old.
Right, but the problem with it is that, especially in today's world, a lot of people just want the easy out. Right, we live in a very cushy world, which, I mean, it's great, like, in its own way. It's great, but at the same time, we don't have a lot of, like, hardship, so you got to, like, go out and do hard things, and you, not to sound weird, but, like, you feel alive. Like, the more hard things you do, you figure out how to get them done, and you feel great.
I need to find scientific research to back this up, but I have a theory that elevators, people with our shared mindset, like hard things. I think there's a ton of Americans who don't. And that's okay, I guess. Like, if that's what floats your boat, and like to your point, Jarrett, I feel more alive when I do something difficult. Mm-hmm. Maybe some people can't handle that, like in today's day and age. And I think it stems down to an interesting topic and conversation that Parker and I were able to attend a keynote speech from. His name is Dr. Matt. He is a psychologist on Long Island. And he essentially had this incredible analogy that just really stuck with me, which is in today's day and age, our parents, our parents who raised us, and now these future generations beyond that, they have essentially eliminated difficulty from their children's lives because they love them and smother them and want them to have the best life possible, right? And you think that's okay, like helicopter parent, that whole concept, great. But he then brought it back to this scientific study. These scientists in Arizona were trying to make every biome in the world exist in like a perfectly controlled climate in the desert, right? Mm-hmm. So they had these little bubbles, these little domes, and they couldn't get large trees to grow. It had all the perfect conditions of the rainforest, couldn't get these trees to grow. And they realized it's because they had eliminated wind. They had put them in these little greenhouses and there was no wind. And so these trees weren't challenged to have to grow their roots down and build strength into the earth. They just died. And so he equated that to this next generation of young people, and honestly ourselves, our generation included, of we were never hit with a gust of wind because our parents protected us from that wind. And so therefore, when we go out into the real world, and I think, love my parents, they did a great job with me, but I think part of why Elevation Nation was born was because we all had this realization of like, holy shit, someone was telling me kind of where to go, saying what was good, what was bad, ended up here and I'm miserable. And we've seen more and more that young people are lacking that resilience, that sense of purpose, and that's why we teach mental fortitude. So that, I think, is just a little story that I wanted to share on why I think it's important for people to do hard things.
100%.
I agree. I mean, that story resonates so much with me. It's like, to your point, Jarrett, it's like why we've been doing this, to Sam's point, is like mental fortitude is the thing that we can leverage when we need to go do hard things, push ourselves emotionally to think deeper about ourselves, push ourselves physically to possibly join a boxing gym, do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, run a marathon, right? Push yourself beyond so that when you do it, yeah, it's hard, but then when you're done, when I'm done running 10 miles, I look back, I'm like, damn, that was hard as shit. But I enjoyed that, and I want to do it again. I imagine the same's for you with the Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Well, Parker, you're forgetting your earliest form of resilience that you built. Parker wore an eye patch for a year as a child. There's no better way to build resilience. You want to build resilience, parents out there listening? Slap an eye patch on your kid for a year.
You act like my mom wanted me to wear an eye patch. Like she forced me to wear an eye patch.
Paige said, Parker, we're going to make you tougher. Here's an eye patch. You're going to get made fun of.
Go figure it out.
Well, for people listening, I did wear an eye patch when I was young.
I'm sorry,
not
Parker, I love you.
as a Halloween costume, but although my mom had a great opportunity to just make me the best pirate. No, never was a pirate. But I think Colby was a pirate that year or something, which is even crazier. The other piece is I had something with my eye. So, like, they put the eye patch on to strengthen the other eye. It's a whole thing. DM me or text me if you want me to tell you more. I'm not going into this anymore on the podcast. But the third piece, so we talked emotional, we talked physical, and I think also spiritual, thinking different about our place in the world and what that means in the broader piece of society, and like getting in touch with the things that we can't control. That's really hard too. And that's what I call belief, right? Believing that it's going to work out, believing that we're here in this moment today. That is hard to take a step back and believe that it's all supposed to be good or maybe bad, but that we're going on the right path. So, Jarrett, as you're moving on to the next phase in your chapter, what are you looking to continue to believe that you're going to make this work?
It's a great question. Well, I'll start off by saying it has to work. I am in this beautiful apartment in New York City. I live with my girlfriend. Like, there's no turning back at this point. Like, it's got to work. So whether I believe or don't believe, it's got to happen. So it's going to happen. But I think the biggest thing for me, like, moving forward is, I mean, it's consistency, right? Being consistent in not only the way I shoot and continuing to grow as an actual photographer, and being consistent in outreach and doing whatever, the business side of it, but being consistent in who I am as a person, right? My personality, how I treat people. And when I say being consistent, it doesn't mean being stagnant, but like consistently like growing and connecting with people. One of my favorite parts about being a photographer is the people I get to work with and the things I get to shoot. Because we could get into this maybe a little bit later, but I'm not a content creator. I create content, right? But I'm not a content creator. I do work for clients where it's basically content creation, but I don't consider myself a content creator. I'm a photographer. I'm a videographer. I'm not a filmmaker or cinematographer, right? It's just different jobs. Not putting one down or lifting one up. It's different things. But as a photographer, my job is to photograph the moments, photograph what's happening. In a sense, like freeze time, right? That's like what I focus on as a photographer. It's not, oh, this is going to go viral. So for me, it's connecting with the people that I'm photographing or the events that I'm photographing or the situation, whatever it might be. It's actually connecting with it and then producing work and creating these photographs that when people see them, hopefully not just on a phone. Like, I print a lot of my photos on the little things that I keep them all over. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I just have them so that hopefully when someone sees them, they might feel something different than what I felt when I was shooting it. But I want them to feel something. Even if it's like a double take and they're like, oh, wow, that's a really cool picture. I wonder how he did that. That's still a feeling that I want to get out of people. So I think being consistent in my approach to my work is so important. And as long as I do that, I think good things will come out of it, and more success will continue to come in.
A belief in your approach. I like that. I really do. Sam?
I think a lot of times people are consistent with bad habits and they don't know how to get out
Are
of
you
them.
not?
No, of course. I am.
Like, we
But
all
I
have
think-
bad habits that we are consistent with. We're human.
Of course. But I think I've also developed some pretty damn good, consistent, healthy habits. And that didn't happen right away. Like, when I was in college, it was sleeping in till 9:30 and not eating
Studying
right.
on Thursday night when all your
Maybe.
friends are hanging out. Like,
Listen, some of us got good grades.
Bad habit.
Some of us didn't. It is what it is. And I think those habits have improved and improved and improved. And what I found in adults, and granted, I'm not married, I don't have kids, but a lot of those habits like get good in your prime and then you kind of go down with life events happening. So a goal I have is to keep up these healthy habits. And I think, Jarrett, to your point, like these habits build upon each other. That's not called stagnation. It's called finding the foundation to help you continue to grow. Because if you don't have that foundation, you can't get any higher. You can't elevate. So I love that concept. I think it's fantastic. I'm so glad we're diving into so much mindset. One question that I have for you, and then we can move on to our next segment, is I have a built-in therapist, sounding board, brainstormer, note taker, and co-host, co-founder. I don't know why he's making that face. What's wrong? What did I say wrong? What are you not there?
Note taker?
Yeah, you're a note taker. You took notes today. I appreciated it.
I don't get paid for that.
You get paid for anything right now, buddy. Hate to remind you.
What am I, the note taker? Jesus.
That is one of your roles. Yes.
Should I put that on my LinkedIn now?
I think you might have to. Note taker and pirate.
Note taker.
And you're the pirate.
And the pirate, yeah.
You have a built-in
Parker-
friend.
Parker
You got
the
a built-in
pirate. Oh.
co-founder that helps you through all these tough challenges that come with entrepreneurship. Because entrepreneurship is the sexiest thing that absolutely sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks. I don't wish it on my worst enemy. It is so hard to have something that you care about so fucking much, and you have no idea half the time what you're doing. Like, that is a horrible feeling.
You've gotten
Like,
better, though.
We've gotten better. You're getting
We've gotten
better,
better.
but like, that's my point. Being is, I have someone built in to help me. How do you manage running your own business, being solo dolo with all the challenges that come as being an entrepreneur?
That's another great question. I'm lucky enough where, I mean, I have a support system in place. My parents are super supportive, and they believe in me. Obviously there's, especially when this kind of came into fruition, because this was the plan for a while to go do my own thing. That plan was expedited a bit. But I mean, it was the best way it could have happened. But they were, they're supportive, and there were times where like, oh, you found a new job yet? It's like, no, I'm not going to either. Like, this is it. No, but they've been great. My girlfriend's been great. But I'm also like very lucky where my older brother, who I'm super close with, he's 2 years old. He's a year older than you guys, 2 years older than me. He's an entrepreneur. He's a physical therapist out in Michigan. Focuses on sports performance and rehab. So, I mean, he built his own practice from the ground up. And so I go to him with questions about entrepreneurship and building a business all the time. And a lot of the times, he's kind of like, he'll look at me and be like I don't like figure it the fuck out. Things like that. And like the tough love has been awesome. That's kind of, how I grew up and what kind of pushes me every day. But the support system between my family, my brother, and honestly, just the community in general, looking towards other photographers and videographers who do what I want to do at a higher level, and just reaching out to them. It's such a supportive community. Everyone's willing to help each other for the most part. There's some negative sides to it. But for the most part, 95% of the people that I associate myself with in this industry are willing to help, willing to, let you come on a shoot with them. They'll give you work. Or like, hey, I have this job. I can't make it. You want it. It's so much collaboration. And even on things that you won't physically collaborate on, I could go ask, be like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this edit? anything. So that's like my foundation.
Well, I'm excited that you are joining now another community, a nation of
Yes.
such diverse thinkers, but are all linked by our common mindset of being elevators and wanting to help
Yep.
each other grow and get to the next level. And so we have such a diverse, incredible community that I know is out there listening, and that we're all building each other up. And I'm very excited for you to get into this world because we got a lot of good humans in the nation that we want to introduce you to. So,
Yes, sir.
all right.
Don't
I think-
ever underestimate the people who are in your corner, and don't take them for granted. I mean, unfortunately, I feel like I take for granted sometimes, and it's being human. But
Yeah.
it's a reminder of who's helping. Sam is, if you're watching not on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify, he wants me to give him credit for some
Yeah.
reason.
I do.
But
Don't take me for granted, Parker.
why? Do you
sensitive.
want like reciprocation from what you said earlier?
No, it's okay. I know you
Okay.
love me. Keep going.
Exactly. See, he even said it himself. Elevation Nation. But it is important to lean on those people around you because they're the ones who build us up when times are hard, and they're there to clap and hopefully lift you up when times are good too, and vice versa. So Jarrett, let's get into our rapid fire. First thing that comes to mind, we got some questions for you, and then we'll wrap this conversation up with the final question.
Cool.
First question for you, minus my engagement. Is there one shoot that is like so memorable to you as a photographer?
Oh man, So my first engagement shoot I ever shot was actually my brother's. So that's memorable because it was my first one, and I had no idea what I was doing. It came out great though. So you and him are the most memorable. But I mean, there's a few for different reasons. My first time shooting at Madison Square Garden, just because it was there, was crazy. That was a Casey Musgraves concert. Not like a big fan of her music. I just got the opportunity to do it. So I think just being
I
in an
love
arena.
Casey Musgraves. So
Oh, she's great.
she rocks.
Yeah, I mean, she's good. Don't get me. And she was amazing live. But there's being during the music industry era of my career, there was a few artists that like I was shooting, and I was like, it was surreal, and they were very memorable. She was one of them, mainly because it was Madison Square Garden, and I realized I was in MSG. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So that was a big one. And then, oh man, I mean, that might have been like the most surreal one. I also shot a Ranger game there, which was pretty crazy. I think just being in that environment was crazy. But I think in the sports and fitness world, that feeling, there's been memorable shoots for sure, and I don't have to go into every single one, but there are ones on my list and experiences that I want to have where I can't say anything until I do that in the sports and fitness world.
Well, that's
But
my
in-
next rapid fire, Jared. I was going to ask you across concerts, now in real estate, so locations and buildings, and then in the sports world, what is the dream? What is the dream event to shoot?
So my dream, what I want to do is I want to put together a body of work, like a project over time. That's not just like one event, it's over time, and put together like an actual photo book of it. One of my, specifically in the sports world. So like the ultimate goal would be part of like an NFL or an MLB team, shooting a season, winning a championship, and putting that all together and like telling the story of the whole seation from
So
a
cool.
behind the scenes type of view.
Hard knocks in photography.
Yeah. So real quick, one of my biggest, by far, like not role models, but inspirations is this guy Robert Clark. Have you seen Friday Night Lights, the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. So the movie poster, and so originally it was a book, then it became a movie, then it became a TV show. So the book and the movie, all of the photographs that were taken were this guy Robert Clark. He was the photographer on assignment when the actual story happened back in the 80s. He was a journalist, went down there, photographed the team. I have his book right here. He created a photo book of all of the real pictures of the real, Permian Panthers that inspired Friday Night Lights, and it's all of the photos that never made it to publish, and it's all of like these crazy behind the scenes black and white film photos of these high schoolers in arguably the craziest high school football environment known on this earth, bigger than some colleges. And every single photo is like awe-inspiring. It's unbelievable. He made only a certain amount of copies of the book. I don't know how I got it. And he's here in New York. And it's so inspiring. I saw that, and ever since then, that's what I wanted to accomplish one day.
That's incredible. We have a couple photographers in the nation. One of them, Andy Bernstein, photographer for the Staples Center, past 30
Awesome.
years. Best friends with Kobe, did all the photography and the Mamba mentality. Just one of my inspirations when it comes to the photography world, just because of how he attacked life. Kobe used to tell him that Andy was the only guy at the arena before Kobe was. It was like Kobe, Andy, and all security guards setting up.
Yeah.
And that's how Kobe and Andy became really close friends. And so I think it's really important to have mentors like that. And I know one day you will be signing Jarrett Birnbaum's book for me to put on my coffee table. And I know that'll happen one day for sure.
I hope so.
Friday Night Lights, incredible story. I'm trying to get JJ to watch the TV show. So
Amazing.
I can't believe she doesn't want to yet, but I think I've convinced her. I think I've convinced her. The movie's incredible. I always feel sad for Boobie Miles. I really do.
Yeah. Favorite movie of all time.
I agree. It's up there for sure. Okay, last question of the podcast. We ask every single person who joins Elevation Nation what their mental motto is. That's a phrase, a quote, a slogan that our elevators live their life by. Sam's got a motto. I got a motto. 5,000 people around the globe have a motto. So Sam and I, as well as Elevation Nation, want to know, Jarrett Birnbaum, what's your mental motto?
My mental motto is, it's not some idealistic, like inspirational quote that some people have in their amazing quotes, and I didn't get it from anybody. It's simply just don't be a bitch. It's a little like on the nose, but I mean, it applies to everything I do, right? So, I mean, with photography, I chose to go full-time freelance and do this thing on my own. Like, I can't complain. I can't whine when things are, they might be going shitty. I might not be getting the clients I want or enough clients. I got to figure, I can't be a bitch about it. Like, I got to figure it out. I chose to do this. Let's, dive headfirst into it and figure it out. In the gym, right? I mean, I'm sure everybody's experienced this. Like, you got one more set and you're like, it's one more set. I don't need to do it. It's like, don't be a bitch. Come on, like, finish it up. In jiu-jitsu especially, right? Like, I've been doing it for 4 years, a little over 4 years now. And I'm still a beginner technically, right? Like, I haven't been doing it that long in the grand scheme of things. So I get my ass whooped sometimes. It's like, don't be a bitch. Like, you signed up for this, right? Like, so every aspect of my life, I mean, relationships, whether it's with friends, like my girlfriend, my family, it's things might be going great, things might be going shitty for a little bit, like whatever happens, like, can't be a bitch about it. You gotta figure it out. And, there are times where things aren't going to go your way and you're going to get upset and you're going to not want to do it. Those are completely normal thoughts, and they're healthy thoughts because it means, like, you're human. But as someone who has to get shit done, that's my mentality. Like, just don't be a bitch about it. Figure it out. You're going to fail sometimes. It happens. Move on and just continue. And I every day with my work and my photography, I mean, it's a little bit of a stoic mindset as a photographer in such a creative world. But, I mean, it just reigns true. It's whether I'm on a shoot, whatever it is, just don't be a bitch. Get it done. Do what you got to do to get it done. And go from there.
I hear Ben Panitch in your voice when you say that line, because I feel like he's told me that countless times. That's all I could think about.
I mean, my brother told me that too. He's like, don't be a bitch about it. Just get it done. And it's like, all right, I guess I got to get it done now.
Brothers know what's up.
Yeah.
I love it. Jarrett, so appreciate you being a friend of ours, you following along with our journey,
You
and
guys
now
are the
most
best.
importantly, being the latest member of Elevation Nation. It's an honor for us to welcome you in here. We cannot wait to continue to pick you up and support you however we can. And thank you for just being an honest, raw, and incredible human being. On behalf of Parker, myself, and all of Elevation Nation, we are hyped to have you here, and we just appreciate you.
I am hyped to be here. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me on and everything you guys do. Love you guys.
Till next week, Elevation Nation.